Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading that just wants to be called moon energy reading. It's a moon reading. It's energy from the moon. That's just what I'm going to call it. It is bringing in energy from the eclipse 2 weeks ago. And of course, we're at the full moon in Scorpio at the time that I'm filming this. So that energy is present. But of course, just take it how it resonates. If this finds you at a later date, could still be a message in here for you. But I'm just going to explain it as I see it. I feel like I have to give an explanation, but at the same time, I don't. I don't know, the last couple of weeks have been quite interesting for me personally. But today I felt like, okay, maybe it's time to do a reading. So, bottom of the deck energy, we have here the Death card. And of course, this is the Scorpio energy that's coming in. It's coming through with this energy of purpose, actually. That's interesting. It has not come through like that before. And there's something here about echoes. Like an echo of something from the past or from the future. It's kind of coming through with like maybe there's something here about like something echoing either a past event or future event or both. I don't know exactly how to put that into words. It's also kind of coming through as being because we have so we have here the Elk card coming out, which is bringing in the energy of the eclipse. And then in the spread, we also have here the moon. Because it is the pink moon as well, this full moon in Scorpio. So I'm not going to go in order because there's no like order in terms of like how the cards want to be explained today. Is just kind of looking like a picture to me. So there's no like reading, so to speak, in terms of you have to read it sentence by sentence, right? It's looking to me like a painting. Anyways, so you have here the 8 of Cups as well. There's so much water energy in this reading today. Like half of the cards are water cards, emotion cards, which of course is tied to the moon. So there's something here about, because this is the echo is kind of how I'm seeing this, where it's like, so it is bringing in this energy of like the eclipse, which was 2 weeks ago, but now it's like the colors are inverted is how I'm seeing this, where there's something like with this Death card Scorpio. So maybe there's something to do with like from the eclipse, which was 2 weeks ago, maybe you had a realization, or maybe there was something revealed to you, or I don't know, maybe there was just something significant about that event for you, but now it's kind of like there's some sort of inversion happening, which is, it's like you're seeing the other side of it is how it's coming through. Especially with this Elk card, it's been coming through as being sort of like during the eclipse, I was thinking about how like in ancient times, before they understood what was happening on sort of a logical level, like a scientific level, like that the moon is passing in between the earth and the sun, the eclipse energy, or like seeing an eclipse as someone who doesn't know what's happening, could be extremely alarming, right? That's sort of what's coming through with this Elk energy of like witnessing something that perhaps you don't understand, or like, it's not clear what it is that's happening. And so it can bring up a lot of emotional energy. So it could be something like that, where it's like there's something, perhaps you're going through something that is new or different or that you haven't experienced before, and it's kind of like trying to figure out what's happening is kind of what's coming through with this Elk card. But it is coming through as being like there's two sides. There's two sides. Because if you, well, it's interesting here at the eclipse where it's like, because the moon, scientifically, if we talk from a scientific level, just for a second, the moon, we only ever see one side of the moon. It's locked to our point of view, if that makes sense. We can only see one side of the moon at all times. However, in events like the eclipse, it's still the same moon, it's just illuminated differently, is kind of how it's coming through. So there's something here about that, about like thinking that there are like, I don't know, it's something here about like illumination, right? Like perhaps seeing the same thing, but it's illuminated differently. And so there's perhaps confusion about that. It's so interesting, these two cards, because they're actually coming out on opposite sides of the spread today, where it's like they're on opposite sides. This is kind of coming through as being like, there may be two people, or it doesn't have to be people. It could be just like two experiences that are technically the same, but are illuminated differently. And so the experience is different, right? There's something so interesting about these colors today that's really drawing me in. Anyways, so this feels like such a strange reading. It might just be me because I haven't done a reading in a while, but I don't know. Anyways, so the first couple of cards to come out, we have here the Sea Serpent and the Tiger. So both of these are coming in with a lot of feminine energy because this is a moon reading. But with the Sea Serpent, it's been looking to me like a well. Like if you think about like drawing water up from a well, there could be sort of like this increase in flow or emotional energies that are sort of coming up to the surface. And I feel like there's something here about like seeing something different about it. It could be something like you're re-experiencing a past event maybe. But because you're re-experiencing a past event that maybe you didn't understand the first time. And it's kind of like the second time, now it's illuminated differently, right? You're seeing it in a different light. So it's bringing in more clarity and understanding. And perhaps it's showing you that it's not something to be afraid of, is how it's coming through. Like, because you understand what's happening, right? There's not fear attached to it, is kind of how it's feeling to me. But there's more clarity. It doesn't mean that it's not still sort of like an uncomfortable experience, but I feel like there's more understanding or more clarity about what is happening, so that it doesn't cause fear or alarm, if that makes sense. Because it's coming through with this tiger energy, which is the phrase that was sticking out to me was ease in the darkness. So there could be an energy of darkness where it's kind of like there's confusion, or there's perhaps fear, or just illusions, or not a lot of clarity. However, there's a level of perhaps not being comfortable, but at least understanding that this is part of the process, where it's like it's not causing alarm, is how it's coming through. It's actually somebody is perhaps feeling more comfortable to an extent in sort of like perhaps an overflow of emotion, right? There may be somebody who's feeling emotional or is just I don't know. Well, the way that the cards are coming out, you have here the Three of Cups, and underneath that the Queen of Swords. This Three of Cups to me, well, this is coming through as being sort of like the overflow of emotions or emotional energy in whatever way that is. This card to me talks about the Mother, Maiden, and Crone energy, where, so again, more feminine energy. So it could be some sort of cycle. It also talks to me about like a very significant choice point, or like a decision has to be made, or like a crossroads, or getting... Well, it's coming through as sort of like a past, present, future, again, sort of with the echoes, right? So you may be experiencing almost like... echoes of the past, which is then going to, of course, have a ripple effect into the future. So there's something about that that's happening, and you might be right in the middle of it, is how that's coming through. There is also a specific message for like perhaps just one person who may be watching this video. I was watching the show Three Body Problem, which is what's coming through with this card. The Three Body Problem. I'm not going to explain the whole show, but it's like, I feel like there's somebody who's trying to solve a problem. And someone who's asking for clarity about a specific problem. Like they're asking, how do I do this thing, accomplish this thing, solve this problem, whatever. I feel like the answer is that there is no solution. That's how it was coming through to me, that there's no solution to that particular problem, or at least how that person is trying to solve the problem. It's like, it's not going to work that way. And so the guidance here is to like, they need to ask another question or a different question. With the Queen of Voices, it's coming through as like somebody's trying to like save something, but that thing cannot be saved the way that it is at the moment. It's like there's no solution to that particular problem. So the next question has to be asked is like, what do I do next? That's the answer. You have to move on to the next question. Anyway, I'm just going to leave it like that. If that message is for you, you'll understand. I feel like the show Three Body Problem might have a download for you. Anyways, so Queen of Voices. This talks about a lot of energies being stirred up. Again, it's coming through as like having to make a decision or having to use a lot of mental clarity in order to sort through all of the things that are coming through, because I feel like there's like it was coming through as being sort of like like in a swimming pool, in like a swimming pool, how like sometimes kids like play games where they have like the like little toys that they throw into the swimming pool and you have to go and get it. It's kind of coming through like that. But I feel like that because of some of the other energies that are coming through, because you have here the 9 of Emotions and the 7 of Emotions. So many emotion cards here, where it's kind of like, I feel like there's some, because the way it's coming out was like this. There's something here about like, because of this overflow of emotions, it's bringing up all of these perhaps choices. It could be like choices from the past. Like maybe choices from the past that you've made, or like things that happened in the past, or like it's kind of looking to me like these goldfish are representing choices that were made in the past, or very significant events that happened to you, or could even be like woundings or whatever, past hurt or past pain, or things that have just been, that are emotional in whatever way. It could be happy emotions as well. It doesn't have to all be negative, but it is coming through with sort of like discomfort. So it feels kind of like all of these things are coming up to the surface, but I'm seeing this as being sort of like, because the 9 of emotions in this deck talks to me about emotional strength, and especially because it's coming through with the diamonds, it's like each one of these events, or each one of these hurts or pains or moments or memories or events have actually made somebody incredibly strong emotionally. That's what this is coming through as. However, because of this energy, it feels kind of like there's it's revealing something to you, because so it's coming through as being like emotional strength comes from a place of vulnerability. And with all of this like Scorpio energy, Scorpio, I feel like one of the characteristics of Scorpio energy is that there's a difficulty in being vulnerable, right? It's kind of like there's something here about that where it's like, because I think Scorpio energy is incredibly strong emotionally, right? Like they're not very easily shaken by things, is kind of how it's coming through. So, but I feel like there's something here about like almost like tracing back someone's emotional strength to a vulnerability or a weakness, quote unquote, or a pain that caused them to develop the strength, if that makes sense. So you may be seeing that about yourself, you may be seeing that about somebody else in your life, or that's just the energy of the collective right now. There's something here as well, because you have here the moon and the Ace of Pentacles. So this Ace of Pentacles talks about a destination today. It's coming through as being sort of like, or like a new goal or something to work towards. Because I feel like there's something here with the moon. Because I often see this card as like asking a question, and with the three body problem, there's no solution to what's being asked, at least not in the way that someone expects, is kind of how it's coming through. The solution is that there needs to be another question asked, or there needs to be another way of looking at the situation. And it could have to do with an Ace of Pentacles, which is kind of like, it's coming through as a new destination. I don't know how that applies. It has something to do with the sea serpent. This is the sacral chakra. Okay, anyways. Next couple of cards, you have the Queen of Emotions and the Six of Emotions. So again, this is talking about some sort of past energy with this sort of like this circle here, right? There's something here about like a looking glass or a mirror or like a reflecting pool. So the past is really significant. I feel like there's something about like an echo or an imprint from the past. That is, so it could be something about like a dream from the past. Perhaps a dream from the past that is somehow is it materializing though? I don't know. Because it could be something like, let's say you had like a nightmare or something in the past when you were a kid, and it could have been quote unquote alarming because it was unknown, or because like imagine seeing an eclipse but you didn't understand what was happening, right? Like suddenly the sky goes dark in the middle of the day. It's like the sun is being blocked out by some sort of whatever. So imagine it like that, where it's like maybe as a child you experienced something that was confusing or perhaps alarming in some way because you didn't understand what was happening, if that makes sense. But it's like maybe you're seeing the echo of that event in your present day, where it's like something about like you're receiving more clarity about what that event was. Not that it is like, it's like, so clarity brings understanding, and it brings more like being able to like process what happened, or seeing something that was perhaps frightening or alarming in some way, but like not being afraid of it is kind of how it's coming through, because you understand what's happening or what has happened. And I feel like whatever this event is or was, or events, plural, it's like whatever happened has actually made somebody very strong, is how that's coming through. So anyways, what's coming out next? You have here the butterfly, which talks about a transformation. Well, because here you have the moth, right? At the bottom of the deck, the death card. So I feel like it's almost like it's not even just like a transformation from like one state into another state. It's a transformation into like a different life, is how that's feeling. I know that's such an extreme way of phrasing it, but if you... I feel like there's one part of your life that is, or whatever, however you want to phrase it, like some sort of experience that has reached the moth phase, right? And the moth is what was formed from whatever, this like up until this point, you've reached the final stage or the final whatever part of how far this manifestation will be, if that makes sense. But it's like, because you've reached that stage, it's like shifting into something completely different, if that makes sense. Here with the butterfly, similar but different. Because I feel, okay, there's another emotions card coming up next, the page of emotions. Because I feel like it's something here about like the queen, right? It's like you've reached this point, the queen, but there is something either off about this energy, or it's like this energy was manifested or came from a place of vulnerability or hurt or wounding in some way. That's sort of how it's coming through. But it's like the next manifestation is coming from this place with the Page of Cups, which is a heart-centered. It's like, it's a completely different energy, if that makes sense, where it's like the first dream that was created or manifested up until this point was coming from this place of the Six of Emotions, which to me is kind of like melancholy or sadness or nostalgia, but in sort of like in a way that's like melancholy is just what I feel with this card. Whereas the Page of Cups, this one is a lot more heart-centered, so it's feeling much more joyful and upbeat or uplifting is what I see with this. And I feel like it's so much easier as well, because I feel like there's something here about like, these are the 2 Wands cards that you have coming out next. You have the 7 and 8 of Inspiration, because I feel like whatever it was, or like whatever's happening now, perhaps there may be something about like it's really effortful to push forward is how it's coming through. With the 8 of Inspiration, this one, it does talk about movement, but today it's coming through as being like progress is really slow, or that there's like an illusion of change. There's an appearance of something changing, but it perhaps is not changing. And it feels kind of like very effortful to maintain this position. I feel like there's something shifting though about that, where it's kind of like with the Page of Cups, it's kind of like it's shifting into something that is more joyful or more light in some way. Because the moth and the butterfly are basically the same animal, but inherently different. So there's something about like perhaps the approach is different, or the outcome is different, or there's like perhaps something that you were doing is the same but is having a different outcome because there's a different approach or a different motivation or a different feeling that is behind it. The next cards that are coming out, you have here the Hierophant and the 8 of Cups. I'm so glad to see this Hierophant card because, it's representing Taurus season for me. Just to balance out all this water that's here, and also to like balance out all the Aries energy. I feel like it's just talking about grounding something into the physical in some way. But the Hierophant is a very spiritual energy, especially from this one. It's coming out underneath here where it's kind of like maybe something about gaining some sort of spiritual understanding about something that you didn't understand from the past, whatever that is for you, or understanding why it happened, or having a higher perspective on why it happened, or gaining wisdom from that experience. And finally, you have here the Muse of Emotions. There's so many water cards in this in the spread. So this is the King card, the King of Cups. You have the Queen of Cups, the Page of Cups, and then all of those emotion cards that were here. But this card is talking to me about, because it's talking to me about flow, right? Like, it's like there's because flow can be experienced in different ways. I feel like there's something here about, like, maybe there was something where it was like you were experiencing an overflow of something. An overflow comes in with an energy of being like overwhelmed, or that it's like too much or something like that. But I feel like here there's something about mastering the flow energy, because underneath that you have here the Magician, right? There's something about mastering the flow. So something that perhaps was overwhelming in a past energy is now becoming more manageable. I feel like the flow hasn't changed necessarily, but perhaps someone is getting better at managing that energy in some way, or learning how to not control, because I don't think this is an energy that you can control, but at least work with, or go with, or create with. Like, it's because it is coming through with sort of like a partnership kind of energy, but like partnering with flow is how that's coming through. And with the Magician, I feel like there's something here. So this card talks to me about like channeling a lot of energy, but the Magician, of course, talks about all four elements, right? Like being able to work with all four of the elements. I feel like there has been a significant, perhaps, shift in the water or emotional energy, but that it's actually having some sort of effect on like a physical aspect here with the Ace of Pentacles, where it's like there was something about this Ace of Pentacles, like a physical new beginning in some way, that was perhaps misunderstood, or there wasn't a lot of understanding about like what this new beginning meant for, or where the new beginning was, or what this Ace of Pentacles actually is. Because it's like somebody was not asking the right question. So if you don't ask the right question, you don't get the right answer, right? It's something like that, where it's like maybe somebody's asking the right question now, or is about to. They're about to see it, or especially with the Eight of Emotions, there was something here about like moving through something that is unclear. Moving through something that's unclear, that doesn't have a lot of clarity, but there's something really powerful about that energy, because these two cards are coming out side by side underneath the Elk card. Even if something is unclear, right? Like you're experiencing something that perhaps you don't understand why it's happening, doesn't mean that it's not, like even if you're experiencing something that you don't understand, or that you haven't experienced before, or that there's not a lot of clarity about it, it doesn't mean that it's not having an effect on you still. It's still having an effect, or it's still creating change. If there is something that you don't understand yet, it's like you will soon. You'll see it in a new light. In the future, perhaps. But that's just part of how time unfolds. Okay, that's it from me. I'm gonna leave it there. If this reading resonated with you, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. It helps so much. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.